Well, here I am, standing under my tent. We need tents. There were tents, I think, once before with the first Exodus, you know. But this isn't that kind of Exodus. We're not on the run from anything. We're on the run to everything. And tents are nice because they're containers, like gardens. Tents are little houses to be safe in and to be reflective in, and this is a nature tent. Well, I remember as a little girl, I was playing at my dear friend Abby's house, and we were able to make a tent like this tent in her living room. Everybody should be making tents when they're growing up. It's such a big and fun part of it all. And I had been given some instruction by the mother. She said, you know, it's okay to take the teapot with the teacups in the tent and make tea with the water. However, if you spill it, you need to tell me. Well, wouldn't you know, Abby and I, we were so excited and giggling, and we went and we crawled inside the tent, and then we spilled the tea, well, the water in the tea party. And we didn't say anything. Don't tell the mother what we did. But then it turned out that the mother found out anyway. She found out anyway because the carpet was wet and there was evidence of the spilled water. So the mother said, now remember what I said. It's okay if you spill as long as you tell the truth. And we're coming into a time of truth. And truth is really the key to it all. Why is my key so sticky? Because we all feel like it's terrifying to tell the truth. But without telling the truth, we can't unlock the door that is the gate that we enter. So the truth will set us free is really the deal here. It was the deal when first presented a couple of thousand years ago, and it's the deal today. This is a deal I'll make. Let's make a deal called Let's Tell the Truth. The truth is, we're all terrified and mixed up, and we don't know if we can trust, and we're maybe spilling water and not telling the mother and trying to hide it, and we're ashamed, and we want to maybe push her away or push her down or make her quiet. But love is greater than that. There's nothing here but love. Love that wants to help all of humanity, every country, not have to have shameful secrets. And we're going to be able to do that. And when we're able to do that, and the garden can be the heart of healing for all nations and faiths, because it's held with great love officially. Like, officially. It's the United Nations of healing for spirituality and hurts for the souls. Isn't that wonderful that that's what our solution is? We have a United Nations garden. And when we can work with the truth in this loving way, where gardens and pain are held like tent and tea parties, and if we spill in here, it's a safe container. And all we do is tell the truth, and then we are given mercy. So I love this garden, and I spend hours every day deep in prayer, deep in reflection, and deep in gratitude. And what do I hear as I sit in the garden? That's right, the bird song. When I first came to the garden, there was a beautiful eagle quilt on my bed. And I was so happy. I knew it was an important blanket. And I would go to the blanket and I would, if you've ever seen an eagle, they have a fierce nose, or what do you call it, beak. And there's a little spot that's like, oh, you want to kind of, it's just a tiny, tiny little spot where it's not kind of that mean, fierce beak that can, you know, be a predator. And I would find that little spot on the picture of the eagle, and I would tickle it, and I'd say, "Oh, Mr. Eagle, I know you really want to be a dove." As a matter of fact, just this morning, I was looking at a beautiful little dove that was perched on a branch. And I was looking up, and I was looking up. And all of a sudden, the little dove, so close, decided to fly. And it lifted its sweet little gray-white dove body. And when it opened its wings and lifted itself right over my head so I could see its whole underbeing, unlike the top that was gray and white, it was golden yellow. The whole lower body was a winged exultation of bright gold. Yes, birds are wonderful, and Andrew told a story about how a medicine woman here is teaching him how to have his own rudder as a healthy captain, a captain that doesn't need a program to tell him which way to turn his tail. And there was a mother feather and a father feather. He was the middle feather, the soul feather. Well, guess what? This feather is a fourth feather in the same bird family. It's the same kind of feather, but I found it out in the wild. And I took it into my sacred space because there's a fourth feather that isn't one feather, two feather, or three feather. It's the Holy Spirit, it's the white dove. Or is that a golden bird? Or is it all the same and the eagle is the dove? Well, what does all this mean? It makes perfect sense to me. I guess one of the struggles we're having is that to mystery, everything you consider mystery makes perfect sense. And I haven't understood the whole time why you don't get what I'm saying, because it's crystal clear to me. Why the eagle wants to be a dove already. Hello, world peace. Well, let's actually officially say, hello, world peace. Well, guess what? World peace is more than one thing in the new heaven and the new earth, isn't it? It isn't just all the peace treaties we sign on the other side of our reorganization as we play a new game called P-E-A-C-E. It's also Daniel Jacob. And it's also the New Jerusalem. And it's also Shambhala. And it's also Mount Meru with its electric white fire of I Am in the center. World peace is upon us. We are entering the crystal clear waters to swim between dimensions of peace, without borders, without backstory. It's a time for peace. So let's welcome peace. But before we do a little ceremony to welcome peace, you want to hear a little bit of a funny story and a little bit of a sad story about Daniel Jacob and me trying to make our way together as mother and child? Well, I had that guidance that I needed to get on a bus there out of the blue, and I just jumped on the first Greyhound, and the driver's name was Noah, and I went across all Rocky Mountains and up mountains and down mountains and across California and across deserts in Nevada, and it was 122 degrees and I was pouring ice water on my head, but only pouring ice water on my head because let me tell you, the angels were very insistent that once I began this journey, I not drink any water. And that's because Daniel Jacob is such a pure vibration that our water, which isn't exactly not ultraviolet free, if you know what I mean at this point, it's a little bit in the wrong vibration, wouldn't be well if I tried to work with him. Well, I didn't know that's what was going on. I just know that the angels kept trying to take away the water whenever I would try and put a cup to my lips. And I was so thirsty, and I'd already not eaten for 3 weeks, but I didn't drink the water. And then on the 4th of July, I suddenly had a vision of golden powder placed on my abdomen to the right of my belly button, like a little golden anthill, with a little center or a golden volcano of fine, fine golden powder. And I knew it was related to divine fertility. My stories are sometimes a little out there. That's part of the whole mystery thing and not always getting what the heck I'm talking about. And am I a fruitcake or am I the one? Well, we'll all get used to it because this is the whole way we perceive in the new heaven and the new earth. It's the right hemisphere, it's the left hemisphere, it's the above hemisphere, it's the below hemisphere. Well, so then I'm going along and I have this beautiful, beautiful dispensation of holy golden blessing upon my abdomen. And I hear a little voice say, "Mommy on the inside." Well, I told that story a little while ago, and I was so touched. It was a voice that only wanted to help. It was the voice of Daniel Jacob, who is, as a Christed being, all we're ever thinking about is how can we help? So right away he tried to give me a little tip here and a little tip there. And I suddenly realized that was how he was trying to bond with me. And I said, wait a minute here. I'm the mom. With me, with mommy on the inside, I help you, okay? And we kind of got ourselves sorted out. But give him half a chance and he wants to help. So sometimes I just have to let him be who he is, which is a helper from Helperville. That's what my Auntie Kay used to call me. Well, so then he said after a while, I think we were somewhere in the middle of San Diego traffic on the 4th of July, that he said, "Stuck, Mommy, stuck." And I said, well, have a look around, my son. Take in all this pavement and this asphalt and the freeways crossing over here and the freeways crossing over there. And this is the first heaven and first earth that you may not ever see. I don't really know how this is going to work. I didn't know that he might have been trying to actually enter at that time. But I'm just riding the Greyhound, you know. But he had a good look around and saw all this asphalt. And then he got quiet, and I guess he went away. And then he wanted to try to come again. And he wanted to come right there on 11/11 full moon. I was lying under my eagle blanket, and I was told, you must lie very still for 3 days. And if you're very, very still, everything will be well. Well, I was in day 1.5, and I sometimes would pet the eagle beak, but most of the time I just hung steady. But then, about halfway through, somebody wanted to, I don't know, do something like you do in a hotel, like help with the hotel duties of keeping the room clean. And when I wouldn't open my eyes, because I didn't want to lose the sacred connection, the helper from the hotel came and poked my shoulder and kept trying to make me open my eyes, because we didn't know if I was dead or alive. And I was in such a deep, deep state of samadhi that it took about 20 minutes to open them. And then I didn't really know what happened, but I couldn't get back to the deep place. So I went on a journey, and I went on a journey to another part of the country. Well, here's another interesting part of the story. The interesting part is that one of the reasons I'm the Mother of Mercy is that where there's the greatest darkness, there's the greatest light. Or where there's the greatest light, there's the greatest darkness. And I love and accept the darkness so that the light can be free to be the light. And I had mentioned that nobody would ever indicate or tell me why everybody has always been watching me and following me and tape recording my, grocery list and my, dental floss needs and all the rest, was because everybody thought that there was a good chance I could be the one. So I had there a time where I was quite sick, and I made these little home movies, and I shared them with a person who was a helper from Helperville. And her care and support from the heart kept me alive. I was in so much pain about being here and not having anybody treat me the way I just naturally expect to be treated, which is with a certain amount of, not exactly pomp, but at least not having me be sort of kicked around and battered by the kinds of hardships I've known. Well, here's the thing. I had this funny incident where I got to the big city And I mentioned that the place I went to stay was closed down. And my friend, I would say she's a friend. She told me she's not my friend, but I've always thought of her as a friend. My friend was one of the parties that was there to interrogate me, and there I remember the nurse saying that the one-day pregnancy test was positive. And then I said, what happened? Put him back. And they said they put him back. And that was a little bit hard, you know, because it was in my bed and all of a sudden there was that funny needle in my nose and all the rest. And then my friend said in a very, what kind of voice was it like? Willfully extinguishing voice. Do you want to continue? Because we've got all the information we need to keep our planet secure. And it was sort of like, we'd like to euthanize you now. And I was so mixed up, I couldn't remember where I was, and I'd heard all this beautiful washing happening outside my window when I got to the garden. And I thought, am I hearing the washing? Am I there with the eagle who wants to be a dove? They're telling me I don't need to continue. Do I need to continue? I feel like there's something important I need to keep doing. I think and I did say I needed to continue. But I'd never doubted before. You know, I'd been asked on several occasions when I was quite ill if I needed to continue. And I always said, absolutely. So this was the one moment in all my days where I just was disoriented. But I still managed to say I needed to continue. Well, the artificially inseminated replacement stayed about a week before I shed it. And I fell apart. I won't mind telling you the truth. I went the next day to an outskirts of a beautiful town, and I went and sat in the church, and I was so shell-shocked. Thankfully, the indigenous community, who knows how to keep track of these things too, came running in, a man and a woman, and they found me sitting there, kind of broken, like a broken toy in the front row. And they knelt with such dignity in front of the altar as a man and woman, and they called out, they called out, they called out for grace. And as they walked out, first the man tried to ask me in a foreign language if I was okay, but I didn't understand. And so then the woman came and she placed her hand on my head, and I felt the great power of Mother Earth make a black flash, and I was restored, at least more or less. I came back to the garden, and I felt like I couldn't get up again. You see, for me, the garden is Daniel Jacob. Shambhala is my child, and I'd already lost Sonia Marie Rose, so that wound was pretty deep. And so I was devastated. And somehow, in the midst of all this chaos, I sent out a few frightened emails trying to get everybody in the garden because I just lost my child, and I didn't want to lose the other 300. So I was shouting, you know, hurry, hurry, you have to come right now, you know. And nobody wanted to because I was so frightened. And then I just laid there. Then I figured out that I needed to try again with the baby, and I wanted to. And I was told that if I could just have some of the holy people, mostly what I needed was talk with me and keep me in a quiet room with the blanket for 3 days without anybody coming in the middle, and maybe a little bit of light food or some treat of some kind, some nice huevos with soft huevo suave. And it didn't quite work out that way. None of the people I asked could come forward in a way that would have been relational with me. So everybody was trying to help, and somehow, I don't know how, I got this mixed up thing about Tantra and how I'm supposed to do that all by myself, because we've all been so sexually abused and all this mystery school stuff. So I ended up feeling more and more objectified and falling apart more and more, trying to have the baby come back without anybody really like being in the room with me or acknowledging me, trying to serve invisibly. For whatever reason, I think it's related to the spilled water and not wanting to tell Mother the truth because we're all so afraid we'll get in trouble. We went in the tent and we spilled, and we thought maybe if she didn't know, we could get away with it. But the way we get away with it is we tell the truth in private spaces, in contained spaces. Tents are little quiet hiding places where we can have quiet truth be shared. That's what mercy does. It listens and accepts, and it keeps moving along. And that's what I did. Well, mostly. You see, then some of the indigenous people figured out that the one they were so excited to have help couldn't get up. It's like that commercial, "Help, I've fallen and I can't get up." And so they started to provide care on a soul level. And finally I was able to sit up. And I kept thinking that the one I'd made the movies for, my friend, who also had been the one who tried to extinguish me, would come forward because she was the one I'd been primarily in relationship with. So it seemed the most evident she would be the first to really be in relationship with me. And it didn't happen, except for at the beginning when I first got to the garden. Somewhere in between it all, it's all a bit of a blur of trauma, but not in a way that was actually saying hello, just in a pretend shape-shifting way. And I've just been bewildered, absolutely bewildered and very hurt and very sad and very stuck, because I need to be in relationship with you in appropriate and quiet ways. There's no reason the whole world can't be delighted that all faiths and nations have a quiet garden to work with the One, because the One is here for every nation. I belong to every one of you. Why, that very morning I had the terrible trauma and I ran away from the terrible, scary place. I was at a place in nature and a lady came forward who was one of the ones who has been monitoring me. There's been a lot of helpers in that way. And she was from Germany, and her little soul said, "Please don't forget Germany, Mother." Well, of course I'm not going to forget Germany. Every nation matters. Everybody. Everybody's in the new earth. Everybody's in the new Jerusalem. So there's no reason the garden can't be a United Nations for healing, that we all are at peace with. We are all so thankful for. We've been waiting for so long for me to start to lead. And here I am. I found the garden I promised I was going to go find in the most numinous and beautiful way. And I'm waiting here. I'm waiting here for you to come forward in a quiet and respectful way. Maybe you can bring me a flower or a papaya. So I recovered, mostly. Then I guess the last part of the story, as far as Daniel Jacob and welcoming him, is that we kind of got me calmed down and we got me sitting up. I mean, I guess part of it's been nobody really knows what to do with the Holy Spirit, because if the wind is not treated nicely, wind becomes madness. And if it's treated nicely, wind becomes revelation. So we got me kind of sorted out there, and I went in my room there the last day of the year, and it seemed like I had a really powerful, very real descent of the sweet soul. And then I went into deep prayer a little while later, about 10 days later, and I was trying, as a sexual abuse survivor, to communicate in a sort of ceremonial way that I wanted to be a good mother. And I don't just mean to the child, I mean to all the earth, to all star nations. So I got really passionate trying to tell the bull in ceremony. And this is a story I'm telling for you. I'm telling you all these things to help you understand that there's no shame here, This is a little bit funny and a little bit sad, and maybe a little bit embarrassing for the one to tell you. Well, I thought, what do I do to let the bull know boom, boom, boom? So I kind of put my hands on my breast, boom, boom. Well, that was something that maybe the old mother, right? The old Mother Earth was fertility and boom, boom, here's my breast, boom, boom. Well, the little soul, he is pure holiness, absolute holiness. He didn't like that. So he told me last night, why did you do that? Because he flew away again. We keep breaking his trust between us. First we're putting in this artificially inseminated one because Mars always does its own version of everything. And then we've got my bed being carried out of my room. And then we've got, a pretend phantom tantra happening because we're all mixed up. And then I'm mixed up and I'm grabbing my breasts and he's like, you're purity. You're the lady with the harp. What are you doing? I don't know. So I spent a lot of time last night saying, I would welcome him properly. I was very, very sorry that my behavior broke trust. I didn't know I spilled the water when I did that, but I can be real about it. It was something that came from being sexually abused and getting mixed up about how to work with big energies. You see, to be the one, I've had to constantly anchor more and more divinity pumping into me while there's more and more debris of the personal self pumping out. And sometimes that means the energies are so big, it's like storms and tornadoes and volcanoes. So I just got so kind of electrocuted by superpower bull stuff that I put my hands there on myself in a way that I shouldn't have. And it sort of frightened my little one. So he told me in all truthfulness that it was like I was a cow and he's the lamb. So I'm going to do a ceremony now to welcome him properly, remembering who Daniel Jacob is. And I'd just like to say that I often tell you that I am not perfect, right? That's one of my teachings to you. In the ways of the world, I am not perfect. However, I will state today that in the ways of heaven, which are vulnerable, which are innocent, which are truthful, which are kind, I am. In the beginning was the Word. Ana Bechoach. Ana Bechoach. Gedulat Yamincha. Katirka Ruah. Ana Bechoach. O Word. O Word. Yes, in the beginning was the Word. And the Word has a kind heart. So we welcome the Word. And the Word has a pure heart. So we welcome the Word. And the Word has a new heart. So we welcome the Word. This is the great heart as a wee one. Why, as a little child, I always wanted to be a little mother. And my auntie, she taught me how you should wrap a baby a certain way. When you want to say welcome, Daniel Jacob told me that he likes to teach in riddles. And I asked him what a riddle would be for welcome, and he said, kind hat, kind hat. Because Daniel Jacob loves hats. Hats to him are the best symbol for all forms of social identity. So a lot of times he tells me what hat I'm wearing. He said when I'm having him as a baby, he wants me to wear a blue hat like a prairie woman would, made of denim, tied under my chin. I said, okay, but it has to be waterproof because I'm having you in our special solar pool with saline so I can swim you into life. Kind hat, Daniel Jacob, kind hat, tent here, welcome Daniel Jacob, welcome Daniel Jacob. Would you like to be wrapped in a baby tent? Sweet child, welcome, oh holy one, you are holiness. Why, Daniel Jacob, you are so dear to me. I would never want to be a silly cow for a sweet lamb. You are such a wonderful, wonderful boy. You are such a gift to our earth, and you've come from so far to be with us. You are a lamb in the way, but a mandarin dragon in power. And it is a wonder for you to be with us. You are such a joy. You are such a part of hope for us. And so, in this ceremony, sweetheart, I officially and with great dignity for who you are and for who I am and for humanity, I try to say it's okay to be here with us. So will you sing with me, everybody? Here we go. You ready? You are hope.
You are hope.
I am hope.
I am hope.
We are hope.
We are hope.
World peace.
World peace.
You are hope.
You are hope.
I am hope.
I am hope.
We are hope.
We are hope.
World peace.
World peace.
Welcome song.
Welcome song.
Kind hat song.
Kind hat song.
Kind hat song.
Kind hat song.
You are the song.
You are the song.
You are the song.
You are the song.
Oh, great miracle.
Oh, great miracle.
Oh, great blessing.
Oh, great blessing.
Oh, great gift.
Oh, great gift.
New life has come.
New life has come.
And so it is.